We are live. We're back for another episode of the Daily Dose with yours truly. In this lesson, I'm going to be breaking down how to prepare your coaching business to resign in 2026. And so at the time of this recording, we're in Christmas Eve. Today's Christmas Eve, and everyone's planning. They have wrapped gifts. They have checked the list. They have made sure that they got gifts for everyone else. But have you checked in with yourself? Have you decided on what your gift is going to be? And maybe that gift today can be full-time resignation, full-time stepping into your business full time, because you know that God has called you to coaching. He's called you, He's anointed you for this, and it's been a desire on your heart for some time now. But maybe you're just not sure how to actually prepare your coaching business so that you can successfully transition full time. And so I'm just excited to be before you live today to really go forth and to share with you how exactly to prepare. All right, we're going to be breaking it down in this live. And so welcome back to another daily dose with yours truly, Janel Ranée. I help you to transition into coaching full time without fighting the algorithm, without chasing any clients, without self-sabotaging, and without sacrificing time with your family. The daily dose is just where I go before the Lord and just seek Him for what it is that He wants to pour out into you, right? I go before the Lord before coming before you, and whatever I receive, I just pour out. And so it's divine overflow of spirit-led empowerment. That is the acronym for DOSE. And so before we jump into what I have for you today, I do have a question for you. I want to know, how have you been preparing your business to leave your 9 to 5? Have you been preparing, or have you been just like hoping and wishing and just kind of dreaming of it happening one day? But have you actually been actively planning and not even just planning, but like preparing for your resignation? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you've been actively working towards. So we're going to jump into um, how to actually prepare. If you haven't been, this live is for you. How to actually prepare your coaching business so that you can finally resign in 2026. 2026 is upon us, and I'm grateful that we're almost there. Merry Christmas to those of you who are watching live. I pray you're having a beautiful, blessed Christmas Eve. And so we're going to go ahead and jump into how to prepare your business. All right. So first and foremost, maybe if you haven't been preparing, maybe what you've been doing is you pray for like financial freedom, but secretly tell yourself, next year will be my year, right? And this is every year. This is you every single year, repetition, up, maybe next year, right? And you're having, or maybe you tell God you trust Him, but refuse to create a real roadmap because strategy makes the dream feel real. Is that what you've been doing? Maybe you've been, telling God that, but it's like, the moment it's time to sit down and actually take action and actually implement the strategy that you're planning out, you kind of ease back, you kind of shrink back. Or you want consistent income, right? You want to make consistent income so you can finally leave your 9 to 5, but you keep guessing instead of building a solid business structure. Where you scroll on like social media and you see others celebrating their milestones, you see other entrepreneurs launching, and you whisper, Lord, when is it my turn? While avoiding the very thing that you need, which is preparation, right? Or you constantly feel behind. Maybe you feel behind, but you keep saying, hopefully, and you're thinking about it instead of just committing, right? You're saying hopeful, which is good, but it's time to actually get in the ring. It's time to really get committed and do what God is calling you to do and truly step into all of what He has for you. That is the only way you're going to actually be able to resign. It's really just taking massive action. And so you can plan, you can hope, you can wish, you can pray, but it really requires you taking that extra, taking that step, okay? You do not accidentally resign into freedom. You prepare into it. All right. You can't just think that you're going to somehow, some way, um, become free and be able to resign and step into that life of freedom and flexibility that you desire. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I appreciate you. You can't just assume that you're going to do this, right? Just by accident. By accident, it really takes you to prepare. And so the acronym that I have for you tonight is prepare. Okay, prepare. And so for you to fully prepare your coaching business to resign in 2026, this is what we're going to be breaking down. All right, how to prepare. All right, so let's jump into it. The P is preparation precedes provision. And so on this beautiful Christmas Eve, we know that God was already preparing. God prepared, God planned before the manifestation of Christ came to earth. And so we just thank God. We thank God. We don't know, exactly when he was born. We don't know what day in the calendar year he was born, but we know that he was born. And this is why we celebrate. We're celebrating tomorrow. But Luke 1:17 says to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. And so God was making provision. He was already preparing. He was already planning. Even in Genesis 3, when in Genesis 3, I didn't put it on the slides, but Genesis 3, God had already had a plan. When the enemy deceived Eve, he says in Genesis 3:15, it says, and I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. And so this is the Lord prophesying and speaking about what's to come. Jesus was he already knew about the fall. God already knows. And so he was preparing in advance for Christ to come. And in Luke, it's speaking about how God was preparing his people. He was sending John the Baptist to prepare for the Lord to come. And so preparation is very vital. Even Jesus's arrival required preparation. And so if you believe you want to go full time, God is calling you full time into your business, your coaching business, you're ready to resign in 2026, it's going to require preparation. Preparation always precedes provision, and heaven always prepares before it releases. Right. And so the brain feels safer. Acting on a structured and predictable plan, right? Preparation calms the nervous system and reduces anxiety, allowing confident decision making in your business. And so this is really, really vital for you to understand that it requires preparation. If your brain does not feel safe, it's not going to go forward, right? It's going to continue to self-sabotage you. And so the second letter, the R in prepare, is roadmap replaces randomness, right? You don't want to just be guessing. You don't want to just be throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping, praying, wishing that you'll be able to resign. You want to have a solid roadmap, right? Because this is what helps your brain to feel on board. And you want to write the vision. You want to make it plain according to Habakkuk 2:2, right? So you cannot wing your way into freedom. The life of freedom you desire, to run your own business, to be a full-time entrepreneur, full-time coach, that you can't just wing it. When your brain sees clear milestones, motivation increases and overwhelm decreases, right? Your brain is now getting on board when it sees a clear step-by-step process. It sees a milestone. It motivates you, and you feel less overwhelmed. Clarity produces constant action. Clarity produces constant action. We tend to so when I work with my clients, the very first thing we do is that resignation roadmap, right? We map out, we say, okay, when do you want to resign by? And then we reverse engineer from that date. Okay, how much do you need to subsequent your current income? How much do you need to be making in your business? Right? You got to know. So we map out the exact numbers, the timeline, and the pathway so that your resignation shifts from just a desire, just a dream, to a strategic plan. And that's the very first thing we do. We strategically plan out, okay, what is it that you need to make per month? All right, how much is your offer going to be? What are your numbers? What are your conversion rates? We look at all your numbers and we are able to make a strategic plan so that we know, okay, you're going to be on track to resign by this date. All right. And so the E in prepare, how to prepare so that you prepare your coaching business so you can resign in 2026. The E is to eradicate belief blocks. I cannot stress enough how important it is to eradicate your belief blocks. Your subconscious mind is responsible for 95% of your actions, right? It's responsible for your automatic nervous system. So if you were to just think, when was the last time that you had to actually think about breathing? Or when was the last time? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. When was the last time you had to think about digesting your food or your heart beating? You don't have to do that. Why? Because your automatic nervous system does it and it's controlled by your subconscious mind. And so your subconscious mind is where most of majority of your beliefs lay, right? And so it's really important that if you're having belief blocks, maybe from your childhood or some encounters that you've had, if you're having these belief blocks, it's really important to eradicate them. Okay, the Bible tells us to, it says we take every thought captive and we make it obedient to Christ. This is 2 Corinthians 10 and 5. There's a reason why the Bible says to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. Christ is the word of God, right? He's God made flesh. He's the word of God. He's the living word of God. And so if any thought comes up in your mind and it doesn't line up with the word of God, you take it captive. All right? You take it captive. And so if your body does not feel safe with success, it will sabotage success. Okay? If it doesn't feel safe with success, your body will self-sabotage because your brain is designed to keep you safe. And so your subconscious belief controls 95% of your behaviors, right? And so if you are believing a lie, right? If you're believing that you're not good enough, if you're believing you're not smart enough, if you're believing that you don't have what it takes to be able to grow your business and sustain your business, you're going to continue to self sabotage. And this is why doing the work of eradicating these belief blocks are so vital. Your brain prioritizes safety over success, right? As much as you want to be successful, if your brain feels like it's not safe, you're going to end up in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode, right? It's your nervous system response to help you, to guide you, to keep you safe. And so your internal belief determines your external results. Until you can internally believe that you are successful, that you are wise enough, that you have what it takes, that you are an excellent coach, an excellent business owner, and you continue to believe that, that is when it's going to actually um, result in your external world. That's when you're going to see, like, you're going to see what you believe. When I'm on my coaching calls with my clients, I can always tell what they're believing based on their actions. If they come to me every week and they're like, okay, Janelle, this is what I did and this is what I did not do, I can always tell what they're believing because your beliefs lead to your feelings, which leads to your behaviors. And from the behaviors that you're doing, that's what's going to lead to the results that you see, right? And so your internal belief determines your external results. All right. And so we're going to move on to the second P in prepare, how to prepare your coaching business to resign in 2026. The second P is premium identity produces premium outcomes, right? And so you got to remember Romans 12 and 2 says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? And so premium identity, you do not step into abundance by just wishing. You become the version of who you become the version of you who receives it. Tongue twister. You become the version of you who receives abundance, right? Because Jesus already came. He already died for us to have life and have it to the full, to have it more abundantly, John 10:10. And so it's already there. Abundance is just elevating your level of awareness, right? It's abundance is all around you. It's everywhere. But you have to become the version of yourself that actually receives it. And your identity determines your behavior. Like I said before, you cannot outperform the identity your subconscious believes. And so, like I mentioned, if your subconscious believes thoughts that, you're not worthy for abundance, or you can't grow, or you can't sell, or you can't market, or whatever the tasks are for you to grow your business, you need a solid offer, you need a marketing message, you need a sales flow. And if you feel like you're not good at selling and you're telling yourself this, you're never going to be able to attract premium buyers if you yourself don't feel like a premium coach, right? And so it's really important to rewire, reprogram, and recode your belief systems. And this is why I work so diligently with my clients, so that they can see their blind spots. Because if you don't see your blind spots, you're going to continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again on repetition. And then you're wondering why you're stuck in this loop. Why are you getting the same results? It's because of the programming. Think of a computer database. Think of a computer, like if your subconscious mind is the same way. If you have a computer and it's 30 years old and it's never been rebooted, it's never been updated, it's never been reprogrammed, it's going to be slow. It's going to be sluggish. It's going to have viruses on it, right? It's not going to be sustainable. You're not going to be able to use it. You're going to get so frustrated with it. And it's the same thing with your subconscious mind. And this is why we do the work inside of my program to really rewire your subconscious beliefs, because it's really running 95% of the show. And you wonder why you're procrastinating. Procrastination is never the problem. It's just a symptom of your belief systems. All right. And so with premium identity for premium outcomes, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. You build, like when we work together, we build, when I help my clients, one of the very first things in the first module that we do is we build out your signature offer. And the way in which I help my clients to build their signature coaching offer is through their lived experiences, so that your belief matches the business God entrusted you with. And so a lot of the times, a lot of the reason why, and I fell for this as well, but when I was on my quest to discover my purpose and to really start a purposeful business, before resigning into my business full time, I jumped around to a bunch of businesses. But the reason why those businesses weren't successful is because it wasn't something that was truly aligned with my God-given purpose, right? I jumped into a lot of these businesses just to make money. And it was like the worst thing I could have done, because it's like, if it's not something that you're passionate about, if it's not something that's in alignment with your God-given assignment and your purpose, you're not gonna sustain, right? You're not gonna be in it for the long haul. And this is why a lot of the times with a lot of MLM marketing businesses, it's like, you lose passion after a while, because it's not from your lived experience. And so one of the tools that I use inside of my program is called the treasure trial framework. And in this framework, I help my clients to create their signature offers. We look at a trial that you've been able to triumph over. We create a trail, which is about 3 to 5 steps, and you share your testimony, and then your treasures come in. And so we find treasure in your trial. And it's a 5-step process, but I'm telling you, it's so powerful. So many women have gone through this process and have been able to create their signature coaching offers and their signature frameworks through this process. And when you create that signature offer, you feel so much more confident showing up to market it, because it's your lived experience. You speak with a level of conviction and a level of confidence, right? And so we're going to move on to the A. So the A in prepare, how to prepare your coaching business to resign in 2026, is alignment. Alignment activates authority. And it's just based off of what I just touched on. When your message, your calling, your voice, and your belief all align, your presence carries authority, right? It carries such authority, because you're like, I know what I'm talking about. lived this. I've gone through this. I'm not just regurgitating something that I learned in a textbook. It's my lived experience. And so when your message and your calling and your voice and your belief all align, your presence is undeniable. People feel you when you speak, right? Your aligned belief and behavior create cognitive congruence, which builds your confidence and power in your communication. This is when you show up and you're able to speak about your story, speak about your lived experiences, people are like, "Ooh, I want that," because they feel you. They're like, "Ooh, okay, she knows what she's talking about." Their ears perk up because they're like, "You know what? She sounds confident. She's very convicted. She knows what she's talking about." And this is why inside of my coaching program, I help my clients to integrate story selling, messaging, so that your voice pierces the hearts of the people you're called to touch, and it moves your audience into action. So when you learn how to story sell, when you learn how to integrate story selling, you're bypassing the cognitive area of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, and you're speaking directly to the limbic system. This is where the emotions are stored, right? Because people buy from emotions, right? It's when you stir up this emotion, that's what causes people to buy. When you paint the picture of what their life is going to look like, the flexibility, the freedom that they're going to have after they resign, right? After they go through the resign. Like when you paint the picture of what their life is going to look like, this is what leads to conversions. And when you learn how to speak, how to tell the story, why you're saying what you're saying when you're saying it, once you understand and master story selling, your sales are going to go through the roof. All right. Because you're going to understand how to pierce the hearts of the people you're called to serve and move them into action. Right. And so we're going to move on. The R in how to prepare your coaching business to resign in 2026, the R is revenue requires simplicity. All right. And so, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. This is 1 Corinthians 14 and 33. So, God is not the author of confusion, right? He's not. Confusion kills momentum. Simplicity sustains success. And so if you're trying to grow your coaching business, but you're all over the place, you have 10 offers with 10 messages, you're speaking to 10 different people, you have 10 different funnels, you're confused, your audience is confused, your money is confused, right? And so this is why I always stress the importance of building out a coaching business and building out a streamlined sales flow that is simple, because simplicity scales while complexity fails, right? Simplicity scales while complexity fails. If it's too complicated, you're going to be all over the place, and your clients are going to be all over the place as well. And your money is going to be all over the place as well. It's not going to be seamlessly coming in consistently, because confusion kills your momentum. Simplicity sustains success. And so the brain fatigues in chaos. If you're all over the place, your brain is scattered. Remember, your brain wants to preserve energy. And so if you're doing all the things, it's like it gets flustered. It doesn't operate and function well in chaos. Simplicity increases execution. When you simplify your process, one of the things that I do with my clients is I have them simplify and strategically systemize their weeks. Know like what days of the week you're doing what, right? When are you sending your emails? When are you creating content? Like making sure that you have a system and a strategic flow to your day and to your weeks, because simplicity is what increases the likelihood of your execution. And so something that we work together with my client in the third phase of building out your coaching program, we and structuring your business for consistent revenue, you need to have a simplified sales funnel, right? This is what allows money to flow with stability instead of stress. When you have a simplified sales funnel, you have a beautiful top of funnel that works well for you. How can you show up? What social media platform would you like to show up on? How do you want to create the content? So for me, I like going live, right? I'd rather go live, because it takes me, when I used to record my videos, it would take me like maybe an hour to record the video. No, it would take me like maybe a half hour to record the video, but then it'll take me like 2 hours to edit it. And I'm like, for all that, I could just go live. I could have went live 3 times already, you know? So I just rather go live. I show up more consistently like that. So you decide, right? I have my clients decide like, what is your top of funnel? How can you show up consistently at your top of funnel on a social media platform that you're comfortable on? What is your middle of funnel, right? We plan out your middle of funnel, and then we have your bottom of funnel. All roads leads to that, to your signature offer. All roads lead to your premium signature offer. All right. And so this is how I help my clients to simplify their process, simplify their sales funnel so that money flows in consistently. Keep it simple. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. If you're all over the place, your money's going to be all over the place too. And so you want revenue loves simplicity. All right. We keep it very simple so that you can keep up with it. And then finally, the E in prepare, how to prepare your coaching business to resign in 2026. The E is emotional stability, sustained success. When you have emotional intelligence and you understand how to deal with your emotions, you'll be able to run your business for the long haul. Yes, for sure. Sales funnels is a good one. Thank you so much for your comment. Absolutely, it is. And so the Bible tells us in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. And so the nervous system it defaults to safety over success. So whenever you feel fearful, whenever your body feels fearful, your nervous system is gonna kick in, right? And you're gonna end up in fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses to maintain your safety. And so this is why it's so important to understand how to regulate your nervous system, right? A regulated nervous system increases visibility tolerance, it increases money tolerance, and it increases leadership tolerance and success. Because if your body doesn't feel safe with success, it's going to continue to self sabotage your growth. And so learning how to regulate your nervous system and maintain emotional stability is stewardship. This is how you steward the business that God has given you to build, that God has given you to steward. It's learning how to work with your body so that you can stop working against it, right? And so let's just do a quick recap. The P in prepare is preparation precedes prosperity, right? You got to prepare in advance if you want to resign in 2026. You want a roadmap, okay? A roadmap replaces randomness. No more throwing spaghetti at the wall. No more hoping, guessing, wishing, praying, and posting. That's not a strategy, right? So you need a solid roadmap, a strategic roadmap to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And then you need to eradicate belief blocks. This is one of my favorite things to do with my clients. I love seeing the light bulbs go off when I'm showing them their blind spots and showing them the beliefs that are leading to their behaviors, that are leading to their actions or inactions. And so you got to understand that your belief systems, your subconscious beliefs, like it's running 95% of your actions. So if you find that you're procrastinating, if you're finding that you're second guessing, that you're starting and you're stopping, like these are the things that you got to look for. These are just the symptoms of your belief systems. And so once I do the work with my clients as a registered nurse turned business coach, I help them to rewire and recode these belief blocks that are hindering their business growth, right? And so the second P is premium identity produces premium outcomes. You got to see yourself, identify yourself as a premium coach, right? And this is what's going to produce the premium outcomes because it's an inside out job. Your internal world creates your outer world, your external world. All right. And so the A is alignment. Alignment activates alignment. I think I messed that one up. Yeah, I think I messed that one up. but you gotta get into pretty much alignment with what the Lord has called you to do. You have to get in alignment with your God-given assignment so that you can be able to shift the people and the lives that you're called to serve, right? The R is revenue requires simplicity. This is where you're building out a simplified sales funnel so that your sales are just flowing in. You have a beautiful top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel, a strategic flow, right? So that you can show up and you can be consistent. And then finally, the E is emotional stability sustains success. You have to have that emotional intelligence to understand how to work with your body. You have to understand that your emotions are always tied to a belief, it's always tied to a thought. And so for you to switch the way you're feeling, it requires you to switch the way you're thinking, right? And so that is the recap. That is how you prepare to resign in 2026. And if resigning in 2026 is something that you desire, I want to introduce you to my Resign program. It's a one-on-one mentorship. And it the first thing we do is we map out your resignation roadmap, right? That's the very first thing we do. And so I want you to comment roadmap or click the link below in the description. It'll be there for you to sign up and register for a resignation roadmap session so that you can resign in 2026, right? Because it's in this session that we're going to map out the exact financial and strategic pathway so that you can resign in 2026. We map it all out. We look at your milestones, we look at your numbers, we look at your conversion rates, and we have a clear plan of action for you, right? So that you can finally stop guessing, finally stop throwing spaghetti at the wall, and hoping on one day I'll be and actually have a plan of action, and you'll know exactly how to confidently be able to build out a business with consistent monthly revenue that you need to resign. And so that's the R in the Resign program. And then we're going to jump into the E. The E is eradicate subconscious belief blocks. I touched on that earlier, where your belief blocks that are saying like that are causing you to hesitate, causing you to procrastinate, causing you to second guess yourself, causing you to doubt. It's usually stemmed from fear. And so we get to the roots of the fear, we get to the root of the hesitation, we get to the root of why are you thinking I'm not ready yet? What is the perfectionism? What is the people pleasing behaviors you've been doing, right? And so we get to the bottom of these sabotaging cycles that are running beneath the surface, right? You think you need more strategy, but it's really your beliefs. You're operating in flight mode. You're operating from a belief that maybe, you're thinking you're showing up, but subconsciously you're thinking, oh, this isn't working. And so as a result of that, you jump from strategy to strategy. You're getting shiny object symptoms. You're like, oh, this isn't working. Let me jump to this. And then you're not able to really be able to allow the strategy to work because you're jumping from thing to thing. And so when we eradicate these subconscious belief blocks, we do that so that you can finally stop, starting and stopping, stop procrastinating, stop spiraling, stop shrinking your voice. Even if you're showing up, you're not showing up fully and authentically, right? You're still shrinking back parts of yourself because of fear. And so once you stop shrinking and you're going to start showing up grounded. You're going to start showing up calm. You're going to start showing up with conviction and with certainty and with emotional stability in your business decisions, right? And so this is why I stress the importance of really eradicating these subconscious belief blocks, because I've lived through it. And this is why I can teach it. As a registered nurse turned business coach, I not only have the clinical eye to be able to spot it, but I've actually lived through this. And so this is why I'm so passionate about teaching and helping my clients through it. And then the S in the Resign acronym, we're going to be creating your signature offer. All right. You're going to be creating your signature offer. We build out a premium coaching program rooted in your calling, your experiences, your expertise, your anointing, your years of education, your real life transformation, and we price it at a comfortable price for you, a premium price, 4-figure offer, 5-figure offer, so that you can price it with conviction and with confidence, so that you finally feel proud of like what you're selling. I find that oftentimes, sometimes my clients, like, they'll come to me and they'll have these offers, but they're so heavy, and they realize, like, wait, I don't even, like, subconsciously they're not selling because they're like, I don't even want to deliver it, because they threw the kitchen sink in there, right? They put everything in it because they wanted to jam pack it, they wanted to make it all perfect, and it's too heavy. They don't even want to fulfill it. And so we make sure that the signature offer that you create not only gives your clients transformation, but it also, it also, you feel comfortable in what you're pricing it at, and it's sustainable enough for you to be able to transition, right? And so you're selling now with certainty. You're selling, because you're certain of the results that you're going to be able to provide for your clients, and you're certain knowing that your business can sustain income consistently so that you can finally resign, right? And then the I is, we integrate story selling messaging. I spoke of the importance of how important it is to, like, really understand how to sell through stories, how to connect on that emotional aspect with your clients, right? With your audience. We're going to craft your signature message that carries emotional depth and authority and your testimony and magnetism, that kind, the kind that makes your clients feel seen, it makes them feel heard, it makes them feel understood, and then it leads them to act, right? They feel compelled to work with you because you're able to, you know what they're thinking, you know what they're feeling, you know the actions that they're taking, and you're speaking on those things, right? And so we develop that messaging so that you can connect through story selling, right? So your clients come to you, they're already pre-sold when they get to you. Your conversations feel natural. And selling doesn't feel burdensome. It just feels like second nature to you because you're serving them, right? You're not forcing any sales. And then the G is, once you understand how to story sell, you know what to say, when to say, how to say it, and why you're saying what you're saying. Once you understand and master story selling, sales are going to skyrocket. You're going to start generating sales. But you want to generate sales with a simplified funnel, right? When people are coming in, you want it to be streamlined. You want it to be seamless. You don't want it to be overcomplicated, because if you have an overcomplicated funnel, you're going to be losing clients through the cracks. They're going to be slipping through the cracks. And this is why it's important to generate a simplified funnel, something that you can keep up with, something that your clients can keep up with, a clear call to action, a clear top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel, right? You remove the chaos, you eliminate any unnecessary offers. All roads lead to your premium offer, right? We sell that premium offer, and you can build offers on the back end, but you really want to streamline your client's flow so that you stop juggling 10 different offers at once, you stop burning out, and you finally experience like predictability in your business, sustainable sales without mental overwhelm. All right. You want to make sure. Oh, thank you so much for that. Yeah, it is true. It's like you don't want to burn out. You want to build a business, but you don't want to burn out. And so, lastly, in the Resign program, I help you to regulate your nervous system. I teach you tools. I have a tool called the SAFE protocol. So, when you're showing up, you're creating content, you're selling, you're sending the emails, you're interacting, conversing in the DMs, you're going live, you're marketing your business. When you're actually taking the action in your business, your body feels safe. You're learning the tool, you learn the tools, my safe protocol method, you learn the tools so that you're stabilizing your business. I'm sorry, stabilizing your body while you're growing your business. You're learning how to rewire and reprogram your body back into safety so that you feel safe and grounded as you're showing up, right? I teach you regulate your body in real time as you grow, as you extend yourself. Because I often say this, your business will only grow to your according to your belief system and your body's safety. If your body doesn't feel safe, um it's going to sabotage you. It's going to stop you in your tracks, right? And so when you learn how to regulate in real time, You do that so that selling feels safe. When it's time to show up and be visible, you feel safe with that. When it's time to sell and make money in your business and to handle the success, you feel safe with that. I know for a long time, I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to handle more clients. And that was my subconscious belief. And because of it, my nervous system would stop me in my tracks. And I wasn't even aware of it. Right. And so these are the things that I help my clients through because I've lived it, I've gone through it. And as a registered nurse and business coach, I understand the anatomy and physiology of how the body has been designed, how God has made our bodies. And I have a trained eye to be able to identify like when you're self sabotaging and call it out, right? I'm quick to call it out in my coaching sessions with my clients. Like, I'm here for you to really grow your business, right? And to help you grow your business and sustain it for the long haul. And so these are the tools that you really need that are so necessary to grow your business, okay? And so yeah, so this is the work that we do together. And so if you're interested in resigning in 2026, be sure to just comment roadmap and jump on a resignation roadmap session so that we can map out a strategic plan of action, a strategic roadmap to get you resigned in 2026. All right. So I pray that this has been a blessing for you. I pray that you have been able to see how to prepare your coaching business to resign in 2026. All right. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. Happy Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve. And I pray you have a blessed and a blessed rest of your evening. And I'll see you. I won't be on live tomorrow, but I'll be live. I'll be live on Friday. Alrighty. And so I'll see you. A digital marketer. Thank you so much. I am a business coach. And so, yeah, I teach you how to create a seamless sales funnel. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and jump off in here. I'll see you on Friday. God bless.